Hello,
I'm Yanina,
and I'm Dmitry.
and we both work at JetBrains, having very different backgrounds.
I'm a software developer who has recently switched to a more marketing-related role.
And I had been an academic cognitive psychologist for like 20 years, and now I'm working at JetBrains, studying developers as humans, developer experience, and developer productivity.
And we read and watch a lot of AI-related news, and we talk a lot about that, and we decided to share some of our ideas with a broader audience.
Sometimes we agree, sometimes we did agree with each other. And today, after having watched yesterday the interview that Boris Cherny gave to Lenny, and a small portion of an interview he gave to Gergely Orosz, the pragmatic engineer, we wanted to share our contemplations and judgments
Reflections.
and reflections on AI and software engineering and the promises Boris Cherny is sharing about the future of the industry.
Yeah, so what did you learn from the interview?
What did I learn? Well, I learned that Boris is a very smart, very talented software developer who loves building stuff.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
you, what did you learn?
Yes, absolutely. I was very impressed by his achievements in tech.
I was a little bit disappointed. I expected to get to know some answers to the questions about the future of the industry. Actually, even the title of the podcast was like, "What will happen after software?"
Software is solved.
Yeah, something like that. And I more learned about the way he has been working at Anthropic, the way Claude Code was built, but not what is expected after every software is going to be built by AI agents.
So I know that you are really good at formulating impressions about people. What's your impression about Boris?
As I already said, he seems to be a very experienced, very brilliant thinker and doer, and the person who optimizes things and loves to optimize systems. And I would say that in his ideas that everybody is going to be a software developer, it will be democratized, and many people will be able to build their apps. He is a little bit over projecting his own mindset of an experienced builder, or of a very smart person, and the person who knows what to build next because he already has built a lot of things. So I would argue that I've been witnessing a projection of a mindset of an experienced developer onto the rest of the world, which is not true for me. What would you say? How many developers you know really know what to build next themselves?
I think not. It's very clear that it's not that many. So it's kind of a stereotype that a software developer has to love building software so much that they do it during the day at work and during the night for their own their own purposes. But we know quite well that people who have the skills, who have the experience, who know how to do that, they don't. They don't build software systems for optimizing their households or their personal hobbies or anything like that.
Some do. But what's the ratio of those who love building software for themselves?
I don't know what the ratio is, but if I talk about myself, for example, I genuinely love coding, but the number of times I've had an idea for a piece of software that I could build for my own use, this was maybe once every few years over my career. So yes, there was a case where I built a small mobile app to track the abilities of my character in a Pathfinder game that I was playing. But that was really a one-off case. It's not that I wanted to build 10 other apps like that and I couldn't because I didn't have the tools for that. I do have the tools and I did have the tools, but I don't have the desire.
Mm-hmm. I have an idea. We all know about the innovation adoption curve. To my mind, we are now all witnessing just this wave of very vocal, very talented, very already appreciated software developers who mostly live in the Silicon Valley, and they build tools, and they love doing that, and they love talking about that. And they tell the story to everyone in the world, thinking that all the other developers and even just general people are going to be like them, keen on building tools. But in the reality, this is only this very, very small portion of people who are, again, projecting their own mindset, their own system of values, their own curiosity, their own smartness, and their own, creativity to know what to build next at every next moment. But this is not the case for everyone else on Earth.
Yeah, and I think it's not just a projection, it's also a value judgment. So they are saying that if you are not adopting these tools, you are being left behind. You will be useless in the career in the world of the future. And I don't think that's the case. Even before AI, lots of people could be entrepreneurs, for example, and the vast majority of the people chose not to take this road. Or, for example, Boris Cherny makes an analogy with the printing press, the career of writing used to be inaccessible to the vast majority of the population. Now everyone can write, but how many people actually do write for?
Being creative writers?
Creative writers, I don't know. Yes, there are people who write fan fiction. There are people who write, public diaries, newsletters, and so on. Is it everyone? Of course not. This is just a small portion of the audience.
This is a different story where we would love to continue finding, wrong assumptions in this metaphor or in this analogy that Boris built with the printing press and AI agentic development.
So, are there any other ideas of Boris that you can comment on as a psychologist? Is there anything else that sounded wrong or maybe not quite according to your views?
I would comment on something that in opposite felt amazing to me. I love the idea that he mentioned that they are thinking in exponential logic, and entropic, not the linear one everybody is used to. It means today they're already thinking about the half year, forward, or even perhaps more, and they make their technical or, business projections on the exponential curve, not the linear curve. I loved it. I think if we all learn to do these estimations, it will change the way we're thinking about things. And what do you think, by the way, about exponential thinking?
I find this quite hard to, at least for me, I find this quite hard. So I would say I'm a fairly conservative person in my views on technology. I'm not an early adopter of most stuff. And
unless you're a builder of something new.
Yeah, well, that's a different story. But in terms of the general worldview, I very much prefer to build upon what we have now, and because even that has not been explored nowhere near enough. So you can get a lot done just building on top of the models that you have today. Of course, if you start building a project on top of today's models that you plan to work on for a year or for 2 years, then it will get obsolete by the time you will be finished, and you will have spent a lot of unnecessary effort building stuff that models will take care of. The next generation of models will take care. But still, there's a lot of stuff that you can build quickly, that you can release quickly, and I think this is if I was making this type of product decisions, this is what I would focus on.
Thank you. If I may continue, there is one observation I'd love to share as a cognitive psychologist, because I used to study intelligence and thinking and reasoning in humans, and I'm fascinated since then by the ways smart people find their own, systems, the way they build systems, because the way talented people build systems shows externally the way their mental life is being organized. Their mental models are getting shape in the real world. And I felt, listening to Boris, that the way he's building harness for his models, the way he is thinking in prompts or specs, whatever he produces to train his agentic solutions. This is very beautiful because this is the unique way a talented person is thinking about the world, and now with the help of AI as a multiplier and as a way to externalize your internal mental models, you can show the world, and the world can see the way you think, the way you reason, the way you build your internal system of the world. And I really enjoy how the products of intellectual products of smart people being enhanced by AI just now can be seen by everyone. But at the same time, it's not for everyone. It's not true that for everyone it will be the same way easy.
Yeah, that's actually very, very interesting. So I would make the distinction between like Boris Cherny's worldview being encoded somehow in the product that he builds and in the way he uses the product. Because of course, the way you use the product very much depends on how well you can structure your thinking, how well you can express yourself to specify the prompts for the agent. Regardless of whether you use prompts or whether you use spec-driven development, you still have to be good at structured thinking, at conceptualizing the product that you want to build. And that is not a trivial skill, and I think the success of a lot of people in their careers will depend on how much they master this particular skill. But on the other hand, I don't think that Claude Code specifically reflects Boris's way of thinking, because in my view, in agentic harness, there are pieces in it that are subjective in a way. So there is a prompt that you have to write, and different agents have different prompts. But to me, a lot of the components of the agent are fairly straightforwardly built, like built in a fairly straightforward way, and do not depend very much on who built this agent. So we have our own agent, Junie, and I wouldn't say that Junie reflects a JetBrains way of thinking and Claude reflects Boris's or Boris's team's way of thinking. I don't think it's very much like that.
Okay, perhaps my hypothesis is a little bit too anthropomorphizing the way these tools are being built.
Yep, maybe.
I would be curious to run a study and, I don't know, to learn what's the truth.
One other psychological thing that Boris mentioned was he mentioned ADHD as the way that he felt about working with multiple agents. What's your take on that as a psychologist?
I was surprised to listen him mention ADHD, and then I thought a little bit about this analogy, and for myself, and later, explain it like that Boris, being a very, again, smart person, very experienced with working with agents, his mental resources let him be quick and not exhausted by working with them, unlike very many software developers are now talking and writing in their blogs or Twitter posts that they do feel exhausted by supervising a bunch of agents, and I can understand why it's happening. And I would say that for a less intellectually talented person, it would require switching between the system 1 and system 2, in Kahneman's ontology, let's put it like this, where working with many agents, you have to use your system to a very thoughtful, analytical, deep, and mentally demanding, mentally efforts and cognitively low demanding way of thinking, which gives this exhaustion. But if you're extremely talented and extremely smart, perhaps these switching between the context and working with non-deterministic systems will feel like a DHD where you just jump from one task to another. So this analogy with the DHD, in my opinion, is something that Boris and a person of his abilities can feel, and a person who is much less intellectually able, even a smart person, of course, will feel much more cognitive load and will feel much more exhausted after working 6 or 8 hours in a row with agentic systems.
Yeah, so first of all, I think that it's kind of a little too, mentioning ADHD as this funk work. I think this is also not always kind to people who actually have ADHD, because
of course,
because many of them do have major difficulties living their life because of this condition that they have. And also I find it curious that there has been a lot of discourse about what makes developers more or less productive in the years before the AI came to the scene. And people have been mentioning that context switching is usually something that should be avoided because it drains your productivity. And some people have been complaining that, oh no, if I have a meeting the half hour before the meeting and the half hour after the meeting, I will not be productive because my focus is so badly broken. I have to work so hard on restoring it. And now, as opposed to that, now they say that, oh yeah, by the way, you should run 5 agents and they will clamor for your attention. One will be done with something, the other will be done with a different thing, and you have to have 9 terminals all over your screen where all these agents run and produce the results, and this is the way to go.
I would say this is a different story. There were studies about 20 years ago that after you have been interrupted, you have to take 23 more minutes to again get into the flow state to continue working on something that requires a deep focus from you. Perhaps this is a new way to work without a deep focus, the one we are used to. But this is really very cognitively demanding, and even though the very essence of work is now jumping between supervising agents and jumping between one to another one, it definitely interrupts your flow state and focus. But perhaps with the agents in the hand, we won't need to be in deep focus and then in a flow state.
I don't know. I think that if you want, building software is hard, and if there is something for you to contribute, then you have to be in the deep focus to be able to contribute that. Maybe we will end up in a world where agents just do all the work, and you just sit around and click on a button every once in a while to continue, telling the agent to continue, or to pick the next task from the queue that the agent itself that the different agent has put together.
Sounds a bit scary. Can you trust this system? I won't.
I don't think I would either. I think this is cognitive work, any aspect of this, product work, verification work, development work, architecture work. All of this is product work, and you need to have enough focus, enough cognitive capacity available to you in order to be able to do this work.
Right. I would say that humans are quite slow creatures, slow systems to change entirely, and the way humans are working won't change overnight, even if the technology is a completely new one. So we should see, and we should, research, we should study how humans or how developers are going to work in with those AI enhanced software systems. My take is it won't happen, it won't be very new in a year. Maybe something will change in 3 or 5 years, but we need to keep an eye on how it's happening. The technologies are moving too fast and humans are not.
Yes, absolutely.
You see, I'm a little bit skeptical. Dmitry is also a little bit skeptical about the versatileness of AI agentic development. But still, what I claim is if you are feeling FOMO, if you're afraid to be left behind, because like it seems like everybody is talking about using agents, just please calm down. Please don't be so upset. It's just how media work. It's how the very talented and very appreciated people with the personal brands are talking about the way they're doing things, being keen builders and very creative software developers. And this is absolutely normal if you are not feeling yourself being that fast, being that motivated to do these things, and if you're just afraid to be left behind. Yeah, I would say those who consider themselves being techno-optimists are over-optimistic, considering others be that the same optimistic as they are. And the social systems, they're quite conservative. They are optimized for balance. And this balance, to my mind, is going to be found, is going to be, constructed to those forces that are very enthusiastic about AI adoption. There will be opposite forces who would love to have guardrails, security first, boundaries, and deterministic systems again first. So I would say that our social forces, having met the technology advancements, still will find the way to balance or counterbalance the system.
Yeah. Yeah, and I personally believe in the resilience of the society at large. So even though the technology can change very fast, the pace of the technology changes with the AI is quite amazing how far we have come in the last 2-3 years. At the same time, from the very beginning, from the very appearance of ChatGPT 3, people have been claiming that, okay, now the software industry will change immediately and all the people will be out of jobs, or all the jobs will be different and all the world will change. And this is not happening nearly as fast as people have been suggesting. So I think that, yes, technology changes, but people don't change nearly as fast. Society does not change nearly as fast. And the impact of the new technology is always much more gradual and much more, even if AI will spread as broadly as, for example, mobile networks have spread in all of our lives, it will take time, and the disruption that it will cause will be smaller than some people hope for, and also smaller than many people are afraid of. And fundamentally, I think that we will all be more fine than some people think we will be. So that was our set of takes on what Boris Cherny shared in their interview.
And a little bit beyond it.
And a little bit beyond it. And yeah, see you in the next one, I guess.
Bye-bye.